Hey, welcome, all my right thinkers. Thanks for tuning in to check out your boy, P Funk. Thinker, right? Out here in the lab. It's getting early, right? Been here for a while now, in the wee hours of the morning, putting together shows and lessons for you, because that's what I do for you. Today, I got a good lesson. I'm going to take it back to the classroom. I'm going to the book. But right now, let's do what we do. Writers in 25 Rules to Live By. Storytelling, story with a message and story for life. These are life lessons I'm giving you, some from the book. But are you tuning in, receiving them? I appreciate you. Let's go. Right thinking mission, and that's what I'm on, is to enlighten. That's the books are for. Inspire. That's what I do. Educate. Use the book and my knowledge. And motivate you, the individual, to a higher spiritual level of enlightenment with knowledge of self. Right thinking is way of life through mental and spiritual discipline daily will help and guide you to attain your goal of spiritual enlightenment, aka know thyself. That's my mission to get all my right thinkers to know themselves. You can't be a right thinker and not know yourself. So if you want to consider yourself a right thinker, you need to know yourself. That's the end game and the goal for all right thinkers. That's my mission. Let's go. Know thyself. A person who knows not and knows not that they know not is foolish. Disregard them. A person who knows not and knows that they know not is simple. You teach them. That's why I do what I do. I got you covered. I know. A person who knows not and believe that they know is dangerous. Avoid them. I do. A person who knows but knows not that they know is asleep. I can awaken them. I'm the spiritual alarm clock. I'm here to wake you up with knowledge of self. A person who knows and knows that they know is wise. Follow them. All these persons reside in you. Right thinkers, know thyself. And to Maya, be true. Today, I'm in the book again. I came up with a different concept. We're going into the meditative state. I'm teaching my class. We're going to the yoga, different classes and styles of yoga, and that's part of meditation. So I put them two together. Meditation and yoga, they go together. So today, let's talk about ancient meditation for modern times, aka Introduction to Ra'aku, aka the glorious light, first formal meditation in history. The Egyptian was the first one to conceive the concept of meditation. That's what I'm saying. Let me read something from the book for you and give you a better understanding because my words sometimes fall short. That's why I like to use the book. Okay, so let's go. The art of meditation is a yoga discipline, which there's five that we talk about. We'll get to that later, which was practiced where? In ancient Egypt for the purpose of what? Promoting spiritual enlightenment. That's what I promote. Wow, it is not a religion. Again, I tell you, right think is not a religion, but it is a tool used by religious and even non-religious spiritual seekers to go within. Yes, to discover what? Your higher consciousness, aka thyself. This book presents the Kemetic ancient Egyptian teachings that's related to the practice of meditation. Again, the glorious meditation. Yoga is a practice. Let's understand that. Yoga is the practice of mental, physical, and spiritual disciplines, servicing the whole body. That's what right thinking philosophy also teaches. I'm teaching what they teach. I'm just teaching it from my aspect. Same thing. Sometimes I use them, sometimes I use my own words. Today I'm using theirs. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. Hope you're getting the message. Now, yoga is the practice of mental and physical and spiritual disciplines that will what? Which lead to what? Self-control, aka over the ego, and more important, self-discovery of self by what? Purifying the mind, the body, and the spirit, so as to discover the deeper spiritual essence which lies within every human being. Not white, black, green, every human being and object in the universe. In essence, the goal of yoga practice is to what? Unite or yoke one's individual consciousness, your ego consciousness, with the universal or cosmic consciousness, higher self, higher consciousness, aka God. So therefore, ancient Egyptians' religious practice, especially in terms of the rituals and other practices of the ancient Egyptian temple system. See, we had a temple system. You come to the temple, you worship, you fellowship, just like we do at church. That's the concept. But we call it the temple system, known as, again, Shita Nada. And that means the way of the hidden supreme being. Amen is hidden. I'm teaching you the hidden understanding of supreme being by mental and becoming conscious of the aspects that he permeates. The way of the hidden supreme being, watch this, may be termed as a yoga system. We call it the Egyptian yoga. The fathers called it Egyptian mystery system. Again, we had an educational system set in place to help you get to the next level, become conscious, spiritually enlightened, aka we called it Maya. In this sense, watch this, religion in its purest form, I tell you that, religion in its purest form is a yoga system as it seeks to what? Reunite people with their true and original source, aka God, the essence of who you are. That's the purpose of religion, is to get you to God. Some of them fall short, but that's the purpose. In life, the purpose is to know thyself. Some of them gonna fall short. Everybody ain't gonna make it. So they get a chance to do it again in the next life. But in this one, you get one shot at it. Take your best shot. Another thing my man told me, in life, you only get one go at this. Give it your best shot. I've been giving my best shot ever since I was 19 years old when I got that knowledge, that information from my old man. Now, watch this. We talk about the yoga disciplines now. The disciplines of yoga fall under 5 major categories. I'm teaching that lesson in my class this week. Y'all paid attention, I might get leg up. These are yoga of wisdom, which is my favorite. Yoga of devotional love, another one I like. Yoga of meditation, definitely mine. Tantric yoga, not so much. Why? Because it's physical. I ain't out there bending and stretching at this point in my life, so I tend to push that one aside. I'm letting you know that. And then another one of my favorite, classic, yoga of selfless action, selfless service, same thing. Out of 5, I integrally practice 4. And the reason why I don't do the Tantra is because, again, I go to the gym to work out on my own. So I don't use that. But I do use the back stretching, the bending to keep my back pain down, and it's been working. So if you want to do the physical, Tantra yoga is that. I'm going to give you that lesson too, but I just don't participate in it. So I have my students do all that. I got a young man who I know can do that. But that's the whole concept. Those 5 major categories. Now, within these categories, listen, there are subsidiary forms which are part of the main disciplines. That means the emphasis on the Osirian myth, Osiris, Isis, and Haru, or Horus in the Greeks, Asar, Aset, and Haru originally from us. But the myth is on what? Yoga wisdom. That's why I'm familiar with that one, but that's what I've been studying for the last 10 years. Pretty proficient in that one. That's why, okay? That's my area of expertise, yoga of wisdom. Yoga of devotional love also falls under that category, and yoga of selfless action. So those 3 that I learned and mastered from those Syrian stories, I mastered those, but I also mastered the other ones, all except the Tantra. Okay, I need to let you know that. So the bending stretching, I'm not doing that. I'm laying on the floor for you. I can play dead. I can lay in the coffin for you. But yeah, that's just a little jokey joke. Where we at? Okay, now it's important to point out and to remember, yep, that all these aspects of yoga can, watch this, and should be used in the integral fashion, meaning interchangeable. They work with simultaneously with each other for what? The effect of efficient and harmonized spiritual movement in the practitioner, which is the ones who practice it, which is yourself. Okay. Therefore, while there may be an area of special emphasis in other elements are bound to become part of your yoga program as needed. But for example, while a yogian may place emphasis on yoga of wisdom, I would do that. They may also practice devotional yoga and meditation yoga along with the wisdom study. I did that. That's a perfect example of what I did right there. So the practice of any discipline that leads to oneness with the supreme consciousness can be called yoga. If you study, rationalize, and reflect upon the teachings, you're practicing yoga of wisdom. Again, one of my favorites. If you meditate upon the teachings and your higher self, you are practicing yoga of, yeah, you got it, meditation every day. Getting better at that too. I just want to teach that concept because it's different for everybody, and I'd rather every individual to go into themselves and figure out what works for them on their own. I'm not here to coach you or teach you how to meditate. Nope, just give you the breakdown understanding of it. I don't coach. I'm still practicing. Okay, so if you practice rituals which identify you with your spiritual nature, you are practicing yoga of ritual identification, which is a whole nother form, but they tell you every area that you practice, there's a name for it and a category for it, which is part of, again, yoga of wisdom and the yoga of devotional love of the divine. Again, things that you do will dictate what yoga style that you're practicing. If you develop your physical nature, watch this, and psychic energy centers, you know what they are. You are practicing, yeah, one of my favorites, serpent power, aka Kundalini or Urias yoga. Yeah, I do this. Which now, and Kundalini or Urias yoga now, which is also a part of Tantric yoga. I told you, I understand it. I just don't do it. If you practice living according to, watch this, the teachings, here's another one of my classic of ethical behavior and selflessness, you are practicing yoga of action, aka Maya, in your daily life. That's when it's had to be used. When in your daily life, it tells you that if you practice turning your attention towards the divine by developing love for the divine, then it is called devotional yoga or yoga of divine love. Again, another one of my favorites. Loving God, obeying God, worshiping, praising God. That's devotional love yoga. The practitioner of yoga is called yogian, male practitioner, or yogini for the female practitioner. And one who has attained, what's this? The culmination of yoga, meaning union with the divine, made a connection with God, your higher self, is called a yogi. In this manner, yoga has been developed into many disciplines, which may be used, again, in an integral fashion to achieve the same goal, which is what? Spiritual enlightenment. And essentially, anyone who has achieved this level, watch this, of high consciousness can be described as a yogi, regardless of whatever path they used, the Egyptian, Indian, Chinese, etc., to attain this enlightenment. I'm saying this. I'm at the top of the pyramid. I know God. Now, how I got to know God was my way. Anybody else that I meet at that top of the pyramid, I'm not questioning how you got there. I know if you got there, the road you took wasn't easy. I know none of them are. So to get there, I'm not questioning. You just respect the fact that they're there. Spiritual enlightened beings, we don't critique each other. We just respect each other. That's what it's all about. And Christianity and spiritual religious concepts supposed to be the same way, but we as individuals, we corrupt it with how we feel. We bring our personal attitude and feelings into a scenario where there's no need for that. Spirituality ain't personal. We share a concept. Again, when you attain enlightenment. Now, however, in any case, however you got this, fine. But watch this. In any case of Egyptian practice, we have a term, Sema, S-E-M-A. That is actually the same in meaning as the familiar term yoga of India. We call it Sema. Indians call it yoga. Therefore, the aspirant should learn about all of the paths of yoga, choose those elements or paths which best suit his or her personality, or practice them all in an integral, balanced way. That's what I teach. All of them in an integral, balanced way. That's right. In philosophy, that's how I use all 5 yoga categories and concepts in my teachings and in my learning. I learned them, so I got the right to teach them. Enlightenment, watch this, is the term to describe what? The highest level of spiritual awakening, aka nihas. It means attaining such a level of spiritual awareness that one discovers the underlying unity of the entire universe, as well as the fact that the source of all creation is the same source from which the innermost self within every human heart arises. We all have the ability to know ourselves. All forms of spiritual practice are what? Directed toward this goal of assisting every individual to discover the true essence of the universe, both externally in physical creation and eternally within the human heart. We need to know the same creator that did all that is inside of us, and we have the same ability to do all that for ourselves. As the very root of human consciousness. Watch this. Thus, many terms are used to describe the attainment of the goal of spiritual knowledge, okay, and the eradication of what? Spiritual ignorance. This is my personal goal, to give you spiritual knowledge, to eradicate spiritual ignorance. That's right thinker's goal right there. Following suit. Now, some of these terms are, listen to the terms that you get when you come: enlightenment, resurrection, salvation, the kingdom of heaven, sound familiar? Moksha, or liberation, Buddha consciousness in Hinduism, one with the Tao, self-realization. They even got one Brahma, and my favorite, to know thyself. These are all the things that once you become spiritually enlightened, that they claim. So whatever you call it, it's still the same thing. I keep trying to make that point to you. I'm almost done. This book will focus, I'm not that. This book will focus on the Sema yoga of meditation, as it is practiced in ancient Egypt. When one thinks of the practice of meditation, usually the image of the mind of an Indian in the Indian practice of a yoga, or monks or nuns. However, the practice of formal meditation goes way back to pre-Christian era and even further before yoga was developed even in India. This book will present the essence of the first known formal meditation instructions, which were given by the sage of ancient Egypt. It is based on the hieroglyphic text, first writings, that was found on the 4 walls in the small chamber, which is entered from the heart of the columns in the tomb of Seti I, Seti I. That's the father of Ramses the Great. Okay, Ramses, second king of the 19th dynasty. Watch this. It was situated in the west bank of the Nile at the city of Waset. We know there's Thebes in Egypt, Africa. The estimated date of completion of this temple was sometime between 1306 to 1290 BCE, before the Christian era or the Common Era. As we watch this now, add with other myths of Egypt, ancient Egypt, such as the Assyrian resurrection story, the myth of the destruction of the unrighteous man and woman, and the story of Heru, Hathor, and Tahuti Thought, was an ancient culture myth dating to the inception of the ancient Egyptian civilization far back as 5000 BCE to 3000 BCE, which did not, watch this, originate with the construction of the Seti I tomb. It was there before they wrote it on the walls. That's what they're letting you know. But it was on the walls of Seti I tomb. But watch this. But was only recorded there for prosperity. As you will see, the Ra, Aku, Aru, aka glorious light. That's what they called it. Scripture has been a close parallel to the early Per Heru text, ancient Egyptian book of coming forth by day, circa 1800 BCE. Now, in reference to the divine soul on chapter 8 of that book, this is what it reads. I'm going to read this and then I'm done. It says, these are the words for making transformation into what? The soul of Tim. Tim is the sun when it's going down in the west. So you giving paying homage to Tim. These words are to be said by who? Asar. Osiris, same one. It says, who is the spiritual victorious? It said to be said by Asar, who is spiritually victorious. Asar is victorious. Why? Even in death, he still wins. That's the concept. Even spiritually victorious, there is no going, watch this, into a place of execution, meaning he won't die. I do not perish. I do not experience this. I am Ra, coming forth from the noon, the divine soul. We just talked about the divine. Divine is pure, good, righteous. So the divine soul, which is the creator of what? His own body parts. Listen, there's no devil. Just going to explain that right to you. Unrighteousness is an abomination to me. If it's not divine, if it's not pure and righteous, it's an abomination. So if your actions are not a pure, divine, right action, it's an abomination. Hence, you become the devil. You're the opposition to what's right and pure. If you're unrighteous, that means you're against what's righteous. God is righteous conceptually. Watch this. I do not see it, for my thoughts are with Maya exclusively. I live in it. I am the God Hu, H-U, the one who does not perish. In his name of divine soul, I myself, watch this, created my own name with Nun. My name is Kepra, and in the form of the God Ra, I am all light. That thing up in the sky, that's God's son, not the human beings, Jesus Christ. God put him there, hence God's son, conceptually. So misunderstanding that took Christianity a whole different direction. Yeah, I was sun worshipers. No big deal about that, but you just misunderstood the quote. That's all. Watch this. The booklet of expressions in this glorious light meditation system, first presented in the book Meditation, the ancient Egyptians' path to enlightenment by Mutai Ashley, my teacher. It is detailed study and philosophy and the practice of that system of meditation as it was practiced first in ancient Egypt. That's my concept. That's my story. That's my lesson. Hope you enjoyed it. Oh, I got some more. I got you.